everyone. Thank you for joining our session today. Today, we're going to be talking about TestBase, a new way to validate your applications with the latest Windows updates. So we have on call today myself, Mansi, Program Manager at Microsoft. We have Rama, Maitri, and Anand. Those three will be taking in your questions and answering them from the chat window today. Just going over the Microsoft Code of Conduct, it's also published in the chat over here as well. In order to engage with us, please use the chat box to ask questions. You can post them anonymously, and the questions will appear once they're approved. To upvote or to reply to some of the questions, you can use the plus button. Experts will answer them verbally, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can throughout the session. Just a note, this session will be recorded, so please don't record the session on your own, and help our moderators not spam the chat. So we're going to be talking about TestBase for Microsoft 365. What is TestBase? Imagine that you are a customer onboarding onto TestBase. You can begin by uploading your package for testing. With a successful upload, you can now test your packages on this Microsoft Managed environment. When you upload packages for testing, these are desktop applications, you're automatically tested with Windows pre-release updates. Think about Windows security updates. We have pre-release testing for security updates and release testing for Windows feature updates. So now anytime you upload an application or anytime we receive a pre-release build, your applications are automatically tested and validated with the latest updates. Through this process, we report back to you any insights and analytics on the behavior of your applications ahead of time. So now you're able to receive updates and dive deep into insights and regression analysis of the package. If there are any failures, customers can leverage insights such as memory and CPU regression and remediate the packages as needed. So now all applications are tested ahead of updates and, ahead of security updates, and Windows pre-release updates become available. Through this process, when we remediate issues ahead of time, you're able to ship applications faster to customers and internal users. So let me talk about and show you a demo of TestBase and what it looks like before we open up for Q&A. So I'll wait a few seconds for the screen to load for everyone. Right here, we see the TestBase portal. On the TestBase portal, you're able to upload a package for testing. In this, you can put in your package name, the version, and the type of test you want to test. We have two different options here, out of box and functional test. When we upload applications, you can select testing and security updates and feature updates. What we mean by that is testing with all the updated Windows 10 versions, client, server, and server core. You can also test against the insider beta channel. So we have a question there asking when you refer to insider builds as well, that's what we refer to. You're testing against Windows 10 20H2. Once you've pre-configured the way that you want to upload your package, you simply upload the binary, that means the application executable, and the dependencies related to that. Then you'll go through and upload a couple of scripts. We allow you to test your application with two different types of test, either out-of-box test, which are your simple install, launch, close, and uninstall scripts, or you can test with functional test as well. So you can upload up to 8 scripts to test on functional updates of functionality of your application as well. Then with that, we quickly review your application, do an initial validation, and you create the application. Here's where the interesting part of TestBase comes and what I'm interested to share with all of you. Once your application is uploaded and validated, you can actually see success or failure metrics on the different updates that you selected. So with security update, you're able to see whether it's passed or failed on that Windows 10 environment and with what release it's passed or failed in. And so we see right here with the May release, we're testing with your application with the security update. Now, if I drill into more details, you can actually download log files to understand what's happening with your application or drill down more into the environment itself. So in the test-based environment, we can show you how we're running the application. We install on a clean VM once, we launch close 30 times, and then we uninstall your application. So through this process, we're capturing telemetry and insights on your application from the behavior of it from 1 month to the next. So if you see right here, last month we tested an application and it ran successfully. And then when we ran that same application with the newest update, we also noticed that it passed on all levels. That gives us good insights that your application is running as it should with the latest updates. When we drill down into more details, we can actually favorite your application and understand regression results. So from last month, we launched 30 times, there were no failures, and the same instances happened this month as well. We're confident that your application isn't regressing through these different variables. When we drill down into memory utilization, this is where we get to understand what's happening with your application. So down to the process level, we're able to understand whether there has been an increase in memory consumption over time. There's a similar concept with CPU utilization as well. So when we think about CPU, has there been a spike in CPU utilization from last month to next month? And if there has, we actually show you right here down to that executable level, whether there has been a regression or not. So you can see this application right here, this Contoso application, consumes 66% more CPU with the latest update than it did in last month. That gives us a good indication that some sort of regression has happened with the application. Now, what happens when a regression has happened? We work directly with you, with your engineering teams, your QA teams, and validation teams to understand why that regression happened, where that regression happened, and and who needs to go and work on the issue. So if it's an issue on the Microsoft side, if we see that a lot of our customers' applications are failing with the latest update, we work with the OS team respectively. And if it's an issue on your application side, we work with you to drill down into some of these log files and understand what's happening with your application. So this is an end-to-end understanding of how to test your applications early with the different updates. Now let me pause right here and open up that Q&A section on our chat and ask some questions. When you're validating your applications, is it important for you to validate with early updates? Is pre-release testing something that would be valuable to you? Or would you rather have your applications validated with updates that are already on the released market? Feel free to go through and put in your answers on the chat as questions, and as we get them, we'll start publishing them. Yep. Let me go back to the question section. We also wanted to understand what kind of data helps you understand how your application is performing. So right now on the service, we have memory utilization and CPU utilization. When you think about metrics that help you understand how the behavior of your application is occurring or how you validate your application with the latest updates, what kind of insights are important to you? Would memory and CPU utilization be the two most important information or insights that you would want to collect? Or would things like disk utilization be important for you to test ahead of updates being released to your end users? I'll pause for people to put some answers or questions in the chat. And a couple more questions thrown to you as well. When testing your application with the latest updates, if Microsoft could design a service, an ideal solution to solve some of these issues that you may have with testing your application with the latest updates, what does that product look like for you? How, in an ideal scenario, how would you design that product? What key pieces of functionality would you have on that product? And how would it help you successfully test applications ahead of updates? So a couple of questions thrown at you. Let me put them on the screen in 1 second. And that way we can help answer some of your questions around application testing and validation. All right, so these were some of the questions that I had asked. How valuable is it for you to test your applications ahead of updates? What kind of data helps you root cause your applications faster? And if Microsoft could design an ideal solution for you to solve some of your application validation needs, what does that look like? So we have a couple of questions coming in and a couple of answers coming in. We'll let some people on my team answer them before we publish them. But I also wanted to understand, what are some of your challenges with Windows updates? What we've heard from customers is that right now testing can actually become, the testing of manual software processes can become very costly. And so right now you support a number of platforms and a number of testing requirements, but the manual testing process has a lot of resource constraints and tight deadlines. So how do you easily automate some of these processes and streamline them for Windows? What does your testing look like? Is your testing mostly in a cloud environment or on-prem? We have lots of great questions coming into the chat. Let's go through. Someone said that it's very important to be able to run tests in beta candidates. But at this point, my team just makes assessments on how we can use TestSpace, whether it's possible to test anything beyond install, launch, close, and uninstall. We have a complex product and a complex backend. So let me share with you, beyond just the install, launch, close, and uninstall, what kinds of tests can you do? So if we go back to the upload page, you can actually test your application if we select functional test as well. And I go to this task option. You can actually test the end-to-end functionality of your application using functional test scripts. If you have automated test scripts created already, you can simply just go in and upload your test scripts onto this TestSpace portal and test your application to an end-to-end view. And so, however you want to test your applications, you add different scripts. Between those scripts, let's say it's important for you to restart as well. So what you can do is reboot after the execution of a specific script. So now you're able to do more of a automated, more of a realistic type of testing environment that your customers may run into. So when we talk about testing, we talk about testing in a couple of ways, but essentially how it works on TestSpace is that we spin up a clean VM on an environment. We install the latest update. So we install the latest OS, and then we install your application. After we install your application, we run these different types of scripts with your application. If you provide functional tests, we run those functional tests as well. And then after that, we're able to provide you insights on how your application is performing through those different scripts. If you have a functional test and one of the scripts passed or failed, we're able to let you know what was happening with that script as well. And then once you download log files, these log files actually help you be able to understand what's happening with your application. You're able to drill down into much more detail on the behavior of your application. And we also provide you right now with ETL files. And these are going to help you root cause the application issues much faster and be able to give patches to your application or fix issues ahead of the updates. Now, when we talk about updates, what are we talking about? I see lots of questions coming into the chat. Right now, we support desktop applications. And so when you think about testing applications, it's really that Win32 desktop environment that we're testing your applications in. In our roadmap and upcoming, we are looking into testing different scenarios and different environments. So when we think about testing your web applications, that's something that we're looking at into the browser scenario. How can we test your applications with the browsers with the latest updates? And not only are we looking into just security updates and feature updates, we're also looking into Office updates as well. I wanted to see with people that are putting in questions in the chat, are Office updates important to you? Is it important to test your application with the latest updates? And what kind of updates do you normally see that break your application? We hope that updates don't break your application, but if there are instances where the latest update has caused a regression on your application, what kind of updates do you usually tend to see that break your application? Is it updates on the driver component? Is it updates on software updates such as security updates, feature updates? Or is it really those Office updates that are breaking your applications or where you see some sort of regression with your application? Different questions coming into the chat. One of them says, hi, I'm a manual tester that supports web applications that includes complex calculations and complex workflows. Can TestBase also support UAT, user acceptance testing? So as I mentioned, right now we're testing on desktop applications. Web application testing is a scenario that we're working on and actively looking into. If you're interested in being a pilot customer with TestBase, meaning driving some of these new scenarios on TestBase with us, please contact us at testbasepreview@microsoft.com, and I'll put that in this window right now as well. So let me put that slide up there as well. Let's see, let's go back one. All right. If you're interested in having TestBase test more applications or more scenarios that are pertinent to you, please feel free to reach out to us. Right now, we're in private preview, so we work hand in hand with a lot of our customers, with a lot of our private preview partners, and quickly develop things that are important to you. Excuse me. So when we talk about UAT testing or web app testing, what we think about is that we're going to try to automate a lot of the manual testing that you do right now. So we're leveraging insights of internal Microsoft Teams to be able to automate some of your testing requirements. So when you think of manually testing on a web application, we're actively looking into how we can use robotic process automation, RPA, to instead of manually validating those kind of test scripts, to automatically validate those test scripts every update. And so think about having to only one time develop test cases, and then every time an update happens and every time an OS is released, you're automatically tested using the Power Robotic Process Automation. If you've heard of Power Automate, We're actively investigating how we can combine the power of TestSpace and Power Automate together to create flows that will automatically test those manual applications or that manual testing that you do right now, and automate that process and provide a record and replay of that as well. So now a lot of that work that you've been doing, you now only have to create a one-time script to execute those end-to-end functionalities of your web applications, and then we're testing that automatically. That functionality is first going to be available with desktop applications, and then we're going to expand that to web applications as well. All right, lots of new questions coming in. It's great to see things that people in this conversation are interested in is software updates, driver updates, Windows and security updates that impact you the most. So if you're one of those people where these kind of updates impact you the most, I really do encourage you to join TestSpace. TestSpace is in private preview right now. It is completely free to use. And so if this is something where you're like, hey, I want to test out, TestSpace for my applications, I want to try it out. I want to see how my applications are behaving month after month with the different updates. I encourage you to message us at testbasepreview@microsoft.com and a request to be activated. What you can also do is join the private preview. You can create an account by visiting us at aka.ms/testspace-pilot. When clicking on that link and going to that URL, you'll be able to search for TestSpace and activate your subscription on TestSpace. Now you'll be able to do exactly what I showed you before, where you're able to upload your application to testing and see your applications with the different updates. For the person that said, software updates, Windows security feature updates, you're able to actively right now test your application with those different updates. And so if we think about where we are in the month, we would be starting to get the latest updates for June already. And so as we get the latest updates, we're testing your application with those updates. So think about being at the end of May, early June, already being able to test your updates with those pre-release security updates. We have another couple of comments in the questions coming in. Things that are important to you are, speaking about updates, Windows updates and software updates do interfere with tests running in Azure. Usually we have to suppress them, and Edge has brought a lot of pain. So as this service and offering evolves, we work directly with our private preview partners to understand what are the biggest pain point areas and where can we develop and create an environment for you to test against these updates early. So if you're interested in us, employing application on the web environment, I encourage you to join our pilots and encourage you to voice that to us. The more people that voice these kind of things that, GPU drivers are a root cause or CPU latency is something that I'm interested in, the more that we actively bring that to the top of our backlog and prioritize that to work on. And so we have a couple of new questions coming in as well. So a lot of questions around browser updates. We do have a couple of members on my team that are actively working on understanding the browser scenario. So if that's something that you're interested in saying, hey, I want TestSpace to spin up an environment where I can test my web applications with the latest browser updates, I encourage you to reach out to us at testbasepreview@microsoft.com, and we'll connect you with those people on my team who are actively investigating those scenarios right now and working with internal teams in Microsoft to make that happen. So right now, we have a couple of questions in the chat as well. Does TestSpace support enterprise client and server solution? Right now, we just have not that integrated client server, but that standalone client and standalone server scenarios. So we do have it in our pipeline to integrate those two environments and support that integration between client and server. Right now it's just standalone testing, but we are actively working on that. And we see Maitri, who's a moderator on this chat, she's actually answered that question, and she's one of those people that are actively working on that scenario. And so if you're interested in having TestSpace test both of those environments together, she would be a great person to reach out to at testspacepreview@microsoft.com. All right, we have a couple of new questions coming in. Great to see lots of engagement in the chat. Please, please, please continue to ask questions. We'll do our best to answer them. Right now, we are testing specifically on software updates. The hardware updates is something that's a new environment to us. We would like to understand, someone on this chat talks about GPU drivers in particular. Something that is unknown to us right now is how do you currently test with the GPU drivers? What is that testing infrastructure? What does that environment look like to you? And that's something that we would want to understand better, and so that we can eventually provide that to you. So if that's something that's saying, hey, I really noticed that the driver updates are breaking my application, or my application isn't working with some of the driver updates, we currently don't have that on the service. We're really interested in understanding how are you testing for that? What does your testing framework look like? What does your testing environment look like for that? And when you do root cause, what do you often find? Is it an issue with your application that you need to update your application or patch your application? Or is it an issue that you see with Microsoft that you say, really, it is this driver update that's breaking my application? So we'd love to learn more after that. An awesome question just came in, and I'd love to answer it before we get it published, which is that my application requires a restart after installation. So if you see this install script right here, and I'll pause, I know there's a little bit of a delay when I present versus when you see it on your screen. So if you see this install script right here, you can actually have the option of rebooting after execution. So a lot of times we see this with our security companies that are on TestSpace right now. When you put in that install script, you can actually restart after that installation, and we support that. And we also have different test options as well. If you want to, let's say you have uploaded a functional test, right here we talk about the bottom as functional test, and there's a specific test that's important to you, but you want to test a couple of the tests before we actually install the update on your test, you're able to say that over here. So let's say I have scripts 1 and 2 running on the environment. I want to see their successful output. And then I can say after or before script 3, after scripts 1 and 2 have ran, I want to apply the update. So for functional test, now that Windows patch will be applied after you've selected some of the scripts already. So these are different functionalities, different ways that you can customize how you want that VM to run your application, how you want that to be tested. Again, we're getting closer and closer towards the real scenario of what our end users will be facing. And as we develop TestSpace more and more, we're going to get closer to those scenarios as well. And so things like multi-machine scenario, things like being able to dive in deeper into the VM, understand what's happening to the VM, are things that we're working on right now. But it is with your help, with your questions, can we do this in TestSpace? Is this possible in TestSpace? Where we're going to generate those ideas and generate understanding of what is important to you, and then put that up on the TestSpace environment. So yes, restarting after installation is absolutely possible. And we made that possible because we listened to customers and they said, hey, this is an important scenario for me. And then we made that possible on TestSpace environment. So we have a couple of seconds left here. I'm going to put the screen back here on how to join TestSpace and how to reach out to our team to ask for questions. We'll leave this chat on for a couple of minutes even after the session time has ended for any additional questions. Please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to get you tested on the free version of TestSpace. Right now, it is completely free for all TestSpace private preview partners to attend. So if you're interested in just testing out and just understanding how TestSpace works with your environment, or saying, hey, will my application work with this latest update that's coming out, feel free to join TestSpace. So we have lots of last minute questions coming in. Please feel free to do that. If you'd like to leave your own contact information for us to reach out to you, feel free to do that. Feel free to put on the questions your contact information, and we'd be happy to continue and reach out to you to better understand your use case, your challenges in your environment, and set up a demo like this for your own team as well. So if that's something you're interested in, we'd be happy to do that and get one of the members from our team to give a similar demo to your internal teams. All right, I will pause. We'll take in and answer some of the questions that are coming in. All right. Again, if you're interested or if you're interested in nominating people, really this service is designed for software vendors, enterprises, and system integrators. But if you're interested in nominating and say, hey, my application generally tends to break when some other application is installed on our end users as well. If you'd like to nominate yourself and nominate that partner as well to join TestSpace so we can start testing both of your applications, feel free to nominate as well. And the form to nominate that is aka.ms/join TestSpace. And then we'll publish that as well. We'll make an announcement on here as well and publish that as well. So if you're interested in nominating other software vendors to join TestSpace, feel free to use that link that we had just pasted in this chat right here, aka.ms/join TestSpace. Here you can also request yourself to be added through TestSpace as well. So that's just about it. We're a couple of minutes over. I appreciate we have lots of attendees still with us right now. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, feel free to email us and we'll be happy to answer that. Again, we'll be happy to demo this again for your own teams and make a recording available to you as well, so you can go back and show your teams if this is something that you're interested in. All right, we have a couple of last minute questions coming up. All right, we have a couple of people. We'll make a note of your contact information. Please provide us with your contact information if you are interested in having TestSpace reach out to you and reach out to your teams. We will not be publishing your contact information, but we will be making sure that we reach out to you. So if you're worried about anyone publishing your information, we will not do that on this chat. We'll just reply back to you directly and make sure we reach out to you. And another question that came through is, would TestSpace be able to support testing of an enterprise client server solution? We are actively working with enterprise partners right now. If you're interested in joining, that's a new scenario that we have spun up, and we have a couple people on our team working on. As an enterprise, if you're interested in joining TestSpace, what is that going to look like for you? Think about having TestSpace a go, no-go for deploying updates available on your MEM dashboard. Those are the kind of scenarios that we're looking into with our enterprise partners. So yes, that is something, right now it's not able to support that enterprise client server solution, but that's something we're actively working on. And so if you're an enterprise partner, please feel free to reach out to us at testbasedpreview@microsoft.com, and we'll get you engaged with those members from our team who are actively working with enterprise partners to spin up that environment available for you to view updates and have that confidence that you should deploy updates to your end users. All right, we'll give just a little bit more time as well. One more thing, it is very important for us to get your feedback on these sessions. That's how we get more and more involved with these build sessions. Please visit ak.ms/Microsoft Build Evals to complete your session evaluation. We would love to know how we did, whether this was something that was valuable to you, and whether this is something that is a platform or is a service for, designed for your testing solutions. And with that, we're a couple minutes over. We will end the session now, but please feel free to reach out to us right here at testbasedpreview@microsoft.com, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. I do see my email blowing up. I see a couple of people already reaching out and emailing us. That's great. We will have your questions and we'll respond to you via email today. Multiple people on my team are already responding to your emails, so please continue to email us, and we're excited to get you onto TestBase, solve some of those challenges that you currently have with testing against manually testing, as well as testing against some of these Windows updates. And with that, let's end this session. And Galvin, if you could please end the live session.